So you're thinking about moving to Brevard County, Florida, and you're just wondering which is better, Merritt Island or Cocoa Beach? Today we're going to break down the differences side by side. We're going to go over the population, location, the vibe, housing, outdoor activities, schools, retail, and at the end, stick around because I'm going to give you my opinion of both, or which one would I choose. So this is going to be part one of a 5-part series. Later on, the next 4 videos, I'm going to break down everything a little bit deeper and go section by section. So right here, I've got my computer, I've got notes that I want to make sure that I go over and don't forget anything. So if we haven't met, I'm Carrie Leota. I'm a realtor here on Space Coast, Florida, Brevard County. I live here, I work here, and I just love the area so much. To me, what's most important is the lifestyle. I love boating, I love my dogs, I've got a husband. Life is just great here, and just like you, I relocated from somewhere else, much colder, and I wouldn't have it any other way. All right, let's go ahead and start with population. Population of Merritt Island, we're gonna have 35,000 people. And I believe the census came out in 2024, so we may have a few more or a few less by now. 35,000 people. Okay, and in Cocoa Beach, 2024, we have 11,400 roughly. So that's gonna tell you we have a lot more land here and housing than we do over here in Cocoa Beach. And we'll break that down a little bit more when we get into the further videos. All right, we're gonna dig a little deeper here. We got location. So Merritt Island, you're about 45 minutes from the Orlando airport and about 5 more minutes to downtown. We got 45 to 50 minutes. And then for Cocoa Beach, Orlando is probably gonna be about 15 minutes more. So if you work in Orlando, which a lot of people do, it's gonna be a little bit more of a commute. And you definitely wanna pack in that time for traffic too, because you never know what's gonna happen between getting there and coming back. Melbourne. That's another bigger city that's really close by. It's about 45 minutes in decent traffic, maybe about 40 without a whole lot of traffic. And then of course, we're always gonna add a few more minutes over here on Cocoa Beach because they're just a little bit further away from everything. Beaches. Well, you're there. You are at the beach in Cocoa Beach, which is fantastic. And then when you're over here in Merritt Island, the beach is about 15 to 20 minutes away. But if you want to go up to Cape Canaveral and go to those beaches, they're about 10 to 15 minutes away. The beaches up there are going to be a little less crowded, a little less touristy. So that's my secret weapon there. When I go to the beach, I like to pick the ones that have a little less people because you got to think about parking. All right, Kennedy Space Center. We're about 15 minutes away from the Kennedy Space Center. There's going to be a lot of jobs out there. And the Kennedy Space Center, we're going to talk about 20 to 25 minutes away. And then we've got Cape Canaveral and Merritt Island. Cape Canaveral is so close, about 10 minutes away tops. And, you know, Cocoa Beach, we're right next to Cape Canaveral, so you're about 5-minute drive, 10 minutes if you're gonna go to the locks. And then in Melbourne, you've got your airport there too. It's not as big of an airport as Orlando. It's gonna be a smaller one, so not as many flights going in and out of there. All right, now let's get into the vibe of Merritt Island and Cocoa Beach. Merritt Island, you're gonna have more of a residential feel, whereas Cape Canaveral, you're gonna have a touristy feel, a little bit more walkable, a lot more people. Everything is just really compact in Cocoa Beach. So residential and then tourists. But the vibe, even though it is touristy, It's so laid back. I love it. You're gonna have your surf culture over in Cocoa Beach as well. Lots and lots of surfing going on. That's where, if you are a surfer, you're gonna wanna live in Cocoa Beach for sure. The vibe for Merritt Island, boating. If you are a boater, this is where you wanna be. You've got the Indian River, you've got the Banana River, and then you've got the ocean, which is just a little bit further. Cocoa Beach, you're not gonna have your boat on the ocean side, so there are limited amount of canals over in Cocoa Beach, so if you wanna have a boat, you're definitely gonna be on the river side of Cocoa Beach. But lots and lots of boating over here in Merritt Island. You've got quick access to inland places. If you want to go to Viera, that's going to be a little bit closer for you. If you want to go to Cocoa Village, they've all got their own vibe. All right, and then again over here in Cocoa Beach, there's a lot of stuff that's walkable, and you're going to have festivals nearly every weekend. It's a lot of fun. Walking festivals. I love the arts festival. That's very eclectic. All right, let's move on to housing for Merritt Island and Cocoa Beach. Merritt Island has over 16,000 homes, and that's including condos too. Now, the housing in Merritt Island, if you want a bigger lot, you are gonna have more access to that, the estates, and those are gonna be on South Tropical Trail, which is south of 520, and you're gonna have access to the Indian River or the Banana River. More than likely, you're gonna live on one of those estates. We'll just call that estates. And then you're gonna have a few of the newer communities, but not a ton. There's a couple, and one is always being built, but still not a lot, like Viera or Palm Bay, which I'll compare those in later episodes. And then Cocoa Beach, you're gonna only have about 6,000 homes in Cocoa Beach. And a lot of those, a good percentage of those, are condos on the beach. You're gonna have single family homes, but because there's less in Cocoa Beach and there's more in Merritt Island, that means the housing price goes up. So you're talking, we'll give it $2 signs. Well, over in here, we're gonna give it $3 signs. So it's just a lot less for people to pick from. And over here in Cocoa Beach, you're not gonna find a lot of new communities. Every now and then there is a new condo complex that goes up, but sporadically somebody will buy an older home and knock it down. But do not knock these older homes. They are built with concrete and they have been there for a long time. So a lot of them have been updated, and then you can still find a good price on a home, but more than likely you're gonna need to put some more money into that and have the updates done for you. But both Merritt Island and Cocoa Beach, you're gonna have mostly older homes. All right, outdoor activities. This is one of my favorite subjects. We're gonna go with water, boating, golfing, and fishing. So Merritt Island, you've got access to two rivers. You've got the Banana River and you've got the Indian River, which is also called the ICW. And you've also got Barge Canal that connects the two and also goes straight to the Cape Canaveral locks. So a lot of that area, if you're boating, it's gonna be slower speeds. Can't think of the name. And then Merritt Island does have a couple golf course homes, but you're gonna find more of your golf course and waterfront homes over in Cocoa Beach. So water, boating, golfing, fishing, very, very accessible in Merritt Island. There's a little bit more of it than there is in Cocoa Beach, of course, because the population has got more land to work with. All right, Cocoa Beach. Well, There's one thing that Merritt Island doesn't have, and that is the beach. It's the ocean. And if that is your vibe, if you're wanting to be around the ocean, that's probably going to be where you want to pick. If you want to be at the beach every day or every weekend for hours and hours, that's going to be where you're going to want to go. But there are canals in Cocoa Beach, but it's going to be on the Banana River only. And you do have easily accessible, you got the locks there. There is a golf course community that you can keep your boat in your backyard. And those do not come up for sale often, but when they do, they're gone. All right, we got golfing, fishing, we've got canals, rivers, ICW. ICW goes along the eastern side of the United States, starts up north, and then I believe it ends in Texas. So if you have a boat and you want to travel, that's the route you're going to want to take. All right, Cocoa Beach. Well, we got the beach. That's the biggest thing. Few canals. You're close to the locks, which you're close to the locks in Merritt Island too. And then golf plus boat. A very small community that if you get in there, you hold on to it. All right, so let's go to schools. Merritt Island has got 9 public schools and 7 private schools. And Cocoa Beach has 3 public and 2 private schools. I believe the 2 private schools are going to be your Christian community, Christian private schools, and then I know a few of them, probably a good portion of the 7, are also in a church, like a Catholic church or Christian-based private schools. So you have a little bit more to pick from over here in Merritt Island, and a few less over here in Cocoa Beach. And then we've got retail, restaurants, and shopping. So this, to me, really sets the two apart. Merritt Island, you're gonna have a lot of your chain restaurants and places to shop. Chains. And then over here in Cocoa Beach, really cool. It's got all locally owned restaurants and shops. Everything is just really unique. If you wanna stand out over there, it's got a little bit more to offer, I think. Locally owned. Okay. All right, now my opinion. People ask me all the time, where would you live, Carrie? Well, I love both and for different reasons, but if I had to pick, I would pick Cocoa Beach. I love the vibe over there. Everything feels just a little bit more laid back. I love the locally owned shops. I love the locally owned restaurants. I love that things are walkable, and big, I love that it has the beach. When you're in Merritt Island or anywhere away from the beach, you tend to not go there quite as much as you might think that you would, even if you're only 15 minutes away. I think Cocoa Beach gets my vote here. All right, so this is part 1 of 5, and if you found this educational, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm gonna have 4 more videos that are gonna break down the differences of Merritt Island and Cocoa Beach. And if you're relocating, drop in the comments where you're relocating from. And from this video, tell me, would you prefer Merritt Island or Cocoa Beach? And if you have any questions about the area, my contact information is below. Feel free to give us a call, text, shoot us an email. I'll be glad to answer any of your questions, no strings attached, and I will see you in the next video.